Today, in this second part of Spring Boot 3.1 and Spring Authorization Server 1.1.0, we will take a step further with the Spring Resource Server. In the second part of this video, we will further configure the users, passwords, and authorities. So keep following until the end of this video. We are back in Eclipse and building our project on the code from the previous part. We have created a new Spring Resource Server and are first looking at the POM XML file. Spring Boot Starter 3.1.0, Java version 17, and the dependencies Spring Boot Starter OAuth 2 Resource Server, and Spring Boot Starter Web. The configuration we do in an application properties file. Again, we use the YML configuration. Server port 8081. Issuer URL. This is the URL of the Spring Authorization Server. Finally, we have a simple controller. Home controller returns home and the principal. We can start the Spring Authorization Server and the Spring Resource Server and test with Insomnia. After starting up the Spring Authorization Server and the Spring Resource Server, we can return to Insomnia to test everything a first time. The first thing we need to do is request an access token from the Authorization Server. Once everything is filled up correctly, we can click on Fetch Token. And in the login screen, we can enter the user and password. The password can be found in the console of the Authorization Server. We then get an access token, an ID token, and a refresh token. The first thing I want to show you is a POST request to the introspect endpoint of the Spring Authorization Server. In basic authentication, we need to enter the client ID and the client secret, and as body the access token. When we send the POST request, we get back the info from the access token. The second test is the home controller. For this GET request, we use a bearer authentication. When we send the GET request, we get the expected response from the resource server. In the second part of this video, we will configure the users, passwords, and authorities. The first way to do this is in the application YML file. We created additional configuration in the Spring Authorization Server file. Username, user password, and user roles. A second way is in a security config class with the annotation configuration. Here we create a bean. In-memory user details manager with two users, user and admin. In the next video, we are going to use the enable method security annotation with the pre-authorize annotation. Thanks for following this video, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel.